Never take me alive, I'm getting high with my 4-5. Cops only suffer from a die, even as a youngster. Causing ruckus on the back of the bus. I was a fool all through high school, kicking up dust. But now I'm labeled as a troublemaker. Who can you blame? Smoking weed help me take away the pain. So I'm hopeless, rolling down the freeway, swerving. Don't worry, I'm about to crash upon the curb, cause my business bloody, baby. If they tried to understand me, what should I do? I had to feed my fucking family. What else could I do but be a thug? I'm slanging with the homies, fuck hanging with them phonies in the club. Got my mind on danger, never been a stranger to homicide. My city's full of gangbangers and drive-bys. Why do we die at an early age? He was so young, but still a victim of 12 gauge. My memories of a corpse, mind full of sick thoughts, and I ain't going back to court. So fuck what you thought. I'm drinking Hennessy, running from my enemies. When I live a beat 23, there's so much pain.
Never been more proud to be a part of the Trump campaign as I am tonight. I watched today as a man with blood pouring from his head in excruciating pain, with gunfire still being exchanged, raise his head up above the arms of the Secret Service who were saving his life, and look dead into the camera and speak to the American people and say, continue to fight. You see, it's important to note that President Trump in that moment had absolutely no idea what the outcome was going to be. All he knew is that he had been struck and he was bleeding out. But he wanted to make sure that if it was his last message to the American people, that it was a message of courage, strength, and more importantly, for them to continue to fight to save this country. President Trump displayed an amount of courage and passion for America that, quite frankly, I have never in my life seen any politician or any candidate for office display. And while there's talk all across the world tonight as to how this happened, how did we get here as a country? We all know exactly how we got here as a country. We got here because the Democrats, the left, the mainstream media, and even the voters who voted for Joe Biden have spread the hateful rhetoric that led us to this evening. We watched as CNN put the headlines out there that President Trump had fallen. CNN knew exactly what had happened because they were sitting right there in the media gallery. Every single major news network who pretends they don't know what happened and they put out these headlines making light of the situation are absolutely lying to the American people, tried to make light of the situation and pretend that it wasn't as serious as it was. They knew because they were there. But my focus tonight is not on the corrupt mainstream media or the corrupt Democrats. My focus is on President Donald Trump.
Woo! Can you guys hear me okay? Give me a 1 if you can hear me, a 2 if you cannot. We're having some technical difficulties with the sound. So let me know if you guys can hear or not. Can you hear me, guys? Hello?
So I can hear you. I'm on Rumble.
Okay, they can hear me.
I can hear
Okay.
you on Rumble,
So
but I can't hear you on StreamYard.
well, that's fine. If you can you hear me right now, okay?
They can hear me.
Gravel. I was gonna do an echo. It's echoing. What you need, it's
Can you hear me right now, okay?
Yeah,
You guys can hear me.
let me restart.
Yeah.
Let me restart.
Do that. Do that. Sometimes that works. Okay, I'm good. So just restart. That's what I had to do because it messed up earlier and I had to restart my whole computer. So it'll work. But cut the volume down on Rumble because it's echoing. There we go. He'll be back. He'll be back. Welcome, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is good to see everyone. Hey, Papa. How is everybody? Hey, Christy. Hey, Mama B. Hey, Janine. I hope you're feeling better, Island Girl. Where's Mag and Mike? Can you pop in a minute? Miss Brenda. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Thanks, Papa. We didn't know we was having some technical difficulties with it. This has been a very intense last few days. I know we all feel as our country, who we are, is under attack. I know when I heard the news and I saw the video of Trump almost being killed, I mean, I went to my knees and I cried. It was very, very intense. But the thing that gets me is the shooter. The shooter. They had snipers on a roof adjacent so many yards from Trump as he's speaking. They had him in their sights. They had this 20-year-old in their sights. And they waited 2 minutes. Then they needed confirmation to shoot. And Secret Service denied it. Denied it. His Secret Service his safety is at risk at this point. He's got some weasels, some worms, some evil people in the midst of that. But let's watch this video.
That's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
They did not take the shot. Let's see if Gravel's working now. Can you hear me, Gravel? No? Go to your settings and check your settings. Oh, he can't hear me. Dude. I'll let him work on it. So yeah, they didn't take the shot. That's major. That's freaking major. And from my understanding as well, let's see if I can find that video. Oh. A police officer actually climbed the ladder, saw him, and then ran because he pointed a gun at him. Because Crooks pointed a gun at him and he took off. And then about that time, he shot at Trump. But let's hear what was being said.
That's being reported by the Associated Press there. What happened on the rooftop? Can you share one more time?
Sure. So this is a big piece of information that the Associated Press now reporting. According to several officials who spoke to them on the basis of anonymity, they are saying that it has been learned in this investigation that a local police officer had been flagged down by those rally goers who noticed that the suspect, Thomas Crooks, had climbed up onto a nearby roof. They had flagged down this local officer. The officer climbed up onto the roof and reportedly went up there to confront the suspected shooter. That suspected shooter, Crooks, pointed his rifle at the officer, according to the AP, and that officer retreated, then giving the suspect the chance to fire his weapon at former President Trump.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Big news there. Evan Lambert in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Keep us updated.
Wow. And if Trump hadn't moved his head while he was reading that sign just like a half a millimeter, we wouldn't be in this. We wouldn't be seeing our beloved president today. That you got to let that sink in. We would not have Donald J. Trump with us today. What's comment saying? Yep, we knew it would get bumpy, and it was an inside job. This was nothing more than an inside job. There's also photos of Trump being shot through his chest, and Secret Service had actually recently talked to him about wearing a vest, and he put it on, and he had a vest on. Things would have been so much more horrible and different, so different. Here is a picture of Barron Trump at the moment after this happened. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. He's got that look his daddy's got when he's like, not today, Satan, not today, Satan. That's why they're losing the Democrats' minds. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Alan girl, welcome in. Good to see you. Trying to get gravel going. Gravel, can you hear me?
Yeah, it was me. I got this new headphone thing and
Okay.
somehow latched onto that. Sorry.
You've got to change your You got to change your settings to all of
Yeah.
it. It takes a minute. It's cool.
Yeah.
You're good. I'm glad
Sorry
you're
about
here. Glad you're here, Gravel. Well, welcome, Gravel, in everybody. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know if you heard or saw what I was doing.
I did. So, my children, and we kind of texted a little bit back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I got mini Trumpers in my house. They're teenagers, but they know. I mean, they're smart enough. I mean, they can't vote yet. They sit on bean bags, and we were sitting there. I mean, I'll just give you like a parent perspective, which most of us are parents or grandparents, and whatever. They sit on bean bags, and we're watching the Trump speech or the Trump rally. And we can't see them all. I mean, I have Newsmax, so they put all the rallies on Newsmax, not necessarily the campaign events. Some of them they do, some of them they don't. And they're eating their apples and their caramel dip. And then that whole thing went down. My older son looks at me. He kind of like turns and looks at me like this. And I'm kind of in shock.
Right.
And he goes, "Did somebody shoot Donald Trump?" And I said, "I don't know." Then they picked him up and they saw the blood coming out of his, I think it was his right ear.
Mm.
And then my younger son, who's 14, turns and looks at me, and he's got like tears rolling down his eyes. And I was like, man, I said, you know what? Gear up, because they got Kawasaki 125s. I said, let's just go check the fence line. It was almost, I was about 8 years old when the whole thing with Reagan happened. But, the thing with what happened with Kennedy, I mean, it was devastating. It was devastating to my sons. I mean, they'd never seen anything like that. I mean, when they're in their bean bags, we're watching movies and whatnot, but to actually see that happen, it was unreal.
I felt the same way. But the younger generation, like your sons, how old are they?
About to be 16 and just turned 14.
Okay. That generation, they've grown to love their country, which is what our job is to do, to teach them right. to teach them love, teach them respect, honor. And they themselves, I'm crying now. They saw that, and when I saw it, it was in disbelief. Like, did that really just happen? Did that really just happen?
Yeah.
And we knew that something like this would possibly happen. We knew it would, and we kept saying it, and everybody kept saying, "Be prepared." But when it actually happened, I guess I was a lot like your sons. But just think about the young generation, Baron. They're just about about the same age. I mean, how do they process this? I mean, how do they? This is awakening. This is an awakening in this generation, if you know what I'm saying. They hear all the talk and all the politics and all the Democrat, Republican, Independent arguing back and forth. But this moment that happened probably made an awakening in them, and I hate to say it, probably put a fire in them once the shock probably wore off, to maybe teach, because it's going to be that generation that teaches my grandkids, your grandkids, everyone, you know what I'm saying? So you did right by what you did, and I'm very proud of you. You're a very good mother, and I know it was right. And maybe you didn't realize how much they really cared about Trump. I know other people didn't know. I mean, my kids called me to check on me, and that made me think, because they're never involved in really a lot of the politics I do. They stay out of it. They don't talk about it really. Every now and then they might ask me something, but they always calling and checking. So I guess in some way we're teaching them, right? I guess is what I'm saying. We're teaching them to care about our country and to know what's right and what's wrong. And that is where we're supposed to be today and doing that. But if things had went different, man, I mean, oh my God. I mean, let's watch this one video of, I remember this was said not too long ago from Chuck Schumer.
This is before Donald Trump ever took office. Did you ever see the Chuck Schumer 6 Ways to Sunday here? But Donald Trump just tweeted this thing about the intelligence community. Any thoughts on that?
It's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
Let me tell you, take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
The most powerful senator in America, his initial gut reaction was like, want to go up against the CIA? You think you're going to win that fight?
To think they're not after him, this was an inside job totally all the way around. I mean, there's no other way of describing it, and here we had Biden coming on tonight and speaking about how we need to be united. That's what he continuously is saying. We need to be united. And this, I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
So I think that my mind is wondering about this. Okay. We're talking about a clear line of sight, 150 meters to said target. And, I'm a big 2A guy. I mean, there's no wind. The sun is shining. There's no rain. I don't know how the kid missed. I just, there's so much going on right now. Like, and evidently, what I heard on the media today was that, between last night and today, there were people saying, hey, there's a guy up there with a gun. And nobody was doing anything about it. Mm-hmm. So I don't, it's just, none of it's adding up. And none of it's adding up.
I mean, we've seen last night, I mean, we were showing, we had a 3-hour show last night, and we were showing the information as it was coming out, and we had multiple videos of people actually sitting there pointing, and they were saying, "Hey, there's a man with a gun over there. There's a man with a gun." Um, even telling law enforcement. And I did watch something earlier. They were talking about a lot of times it's not Secret Service that's the snipers, and sometimes it's not even law enforcement. It's a third party. I don't know what you would call it, company that they get while they're in town to do this. So if this was a third party company, I would like to know who it was. That's a starting point. I would like to know who it was. But at the end of the day, they called through and requested to shoot, and it was denied by Secret Service. Why would you deny that? Why would you deny the shot?
Well, all right. So, I'm not LEO or anything like that. I'm not Secret Service. I don't know how they operate.
Right.
But being a veteran, you have the right to what they call inherent self-defense. So if somebody's shooting at you or about to shoot at you, you shoot back, or you shoot them before they shoot you, and that's basically, it's called rules of engagement, ROE. And you have the right to fight back. Now, I don't necessarily know how it works in a case like this, but I think if somebody's got a gun pointed on a president with a clear line of sight, I mean, maybe I don't understand their internals, but that to me, that's a shot right there. I mean, you don't have to ask permission.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that after hearing this story, is that the only rational thing I can think of was a deconfliction, because there does have to be deconfliction. Like, is that a good guy or a bad guy? Does that make sense?
Yes, but we need to know it does. And if there's other people around, but if they tell them they're snipers, I'm sure there's code words and there's things they say to other people to let them know, hey, I can take the shot. I can take the shot. And that would let them know there's no innocent, civilians around or anything that would be harmed. And if the cop went up there, up to the roof, and then left, did he, did everything happen so fast where he couldn't radio it in? Was there any radio reports radioed in by the police at all? Those are questions that hopefully we'll get some answers to. But I would say they're going to keep this pretty close, tight. And then now FBI has took over the whole case. Yeah, they're going to investigate this just like they did the Hunter Biden laptop, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I just I mean, we were all 20 at one time, right? I just, if it was this kid, and I'll leave it at that, I just don't see how a 20-year-old kid can grab an AR, which is basically the weapon that was used. It doesn't, I mean, like, I got a couple of them and they're scoped.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go just, for like target practice and I want to sight my scopes, that takes like a week at least. And that's if I'm doing it every day, just to get it right, like get everything, and they got dots, they got red dot, I got red dots, green dots, all that stuff. It takes a while to actually sight a scope like that. And I'm I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, you're telling me this 20-year-old kid who knows nothing about nothing just went and basically tried to assassinate a president? It just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. His news reports coming out that his parents were behavioral health specialists as well. He worked for a nursing home. Others have talked about and they've been questioned and said this is very shocking to them. Others that he went to school with because he graduated a couple of years ago, and others in school have said that he was bullied every day and that he still wore his COVID mask. He still wore his mask. These are reports that I have read. 20-year-old kid couldn't have done this by himself. Many people had to be involved, in my opinion. Absolutely. I mean, how do we know that there was only one shooter, really, with all the bullets? I mean, they're saying reports are that he was the only shooter, but I counted 5 that went into the podium right after Trump dropped. And I don't know how many we heard in between that. Some were saying 8, some were saying 13. Think about it. How can one person with snipers, well, they're told not to take them out. I know he got over. I know for a fact he got over 7 shots out. If we count the one that went to the vest of Trump, the one that went to hit his ear, and the 5 that I myself listened to over and over that hit the podium. So we're going to say 7 for certain. Okay. And he got more off. He got that many shots off before he was taken down, which I'm sure he got about 13 or more taken off. This could have been prevented. There could have been 0 loss of life. 0 loss of life in this. But they allowed it. And when I say they, the Secret Service, they're all complicit in it. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I mean, look, we've got, as you saw, okay, let's watch. Okay. As he got taken off the stage. Wait. Now, I know Trump wanted to do what he wanted to do, but they left him open. They left him open. And then you have one of the Secret Service, and I'm not saying nothing about her being a woman. She couldn't even put it back in her holster. Now, I don't know if this is possibly the first time she's been involved in maybe a situation like this, and it stunned her because it is relatively different when you are practicing and training as opposed to when it actually happens. I've seen video of when he was president. It might have been a rally he was doing when he was going to be president in 2016, running for election, and he was up talking, and they were screaming, "Shooter, shooter." I seen the Secret Service that time freaking tackle him quick, fast. I mean, they were like there on the money. These, I've never seen such bullshit. I mean, that's a problem. What the hell's going on? They didn't. It's like, okay, we're just gonna walk you off the stage. We're gonna walk you off the stage. We're just gonna barely move you. Something is not right here.
No, you're right, and I saw that she went to holster a weapon. She actually tried to do it twice, and she couldn't get it in there, so to speak. And then she just started pointing it at people, and I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, what is? I mean, so.
Right.
You know, having been in the military, and I'm sure any veteran on the panel could speak to this, you know, you don't, I mean, 99% of us, you don't miscalculate, you know, if it's time to draw, it's time to draw, if you will. I mean, I was a pilot, but when someone says cleared hot, gun goes, you know, and that's it. And then when the target is terminated, so on and so forth. I could not for the life of me figure out why she couldn't holster her weapon. I mean, that was shocking. That was actually shocking. And then here's the other thing. They should have, my understanding of the Secret Service, they should have thrown him in, you know, his Trump mobile. I'll call it that. But they let him stand up, and he exposed his head again. And
right.
I'm just,
and then you saw her just no, and then you saw her posting her arm just like this over it. So something's just not right there. We're not stupid people. I mean, it doesn't take a scientist to see there's a problem here. And I would hope Trump, I wish I could find that video. But I saw a video earlier today of a gentleman. I don't know if I put it on, I'll look at my Telegram. But I saw where he was telling Trump, he said, look, doesn't matter you black or white. You let us know in the hood. We got 50 of us that are ready to go. And if you're around here or wherever you need to go, we'll be there. He was trying to get a hold of Eric Trump. He was trying to get a hold of Don Jr. He said, hey,
I saw that one. That
we
was a
got
good
you.
video.
We got you. I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. But he was saying, we got you. I mean it. He said, you call me. And you know, there's people that will protect that man at this point. You know, they would have before. But he got his, they said something. Have you ever heard of it? A V? If you get shot and it's a V, it's like it represents something or in a certain area of the ear. And I don't know. I'll have to find out what it was. They called it something. It was like a survivor, like a hero type thing, you know. I don't know what it's called. Trump's personal bodyguards jumped in on him fast. Right. But Secret Service. I mean, we've seen, I'd say it, we've seen them suck as well with Biden and Jill. That time they jumped up on stage and Jill was up there with Biden. She had to intervene to protect her husband. Where was Secret Service then? That's what I'm saying. This is crazy. Well, let's hear what Biden had to say
about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers.
Absolutely.
I mean, I will give. I knew it was coming on. I've been watching the news. They're not showing it on Newsmax, but I will give Biden credit for that. You know, at least he came out and said, like, and I think that's what everyone is saying. Like, we got to calm this down because this is getting out of hand. You know, we're talking about like killing presidents and, you know, whatnot. I mean, so I will give Biden credit for that. I don't like him.
Absolutely. I was trying to find a video of some of the crazies. He said it was good. I've seen some videos of some really out there individuals and on the left, and they have lost their ever loving freaking mind. And they are mad because Trump is not dead. Making comments. As a matter of fact, we actually had Mississippi congressman. Let me see if I can find the information. That actually was doing this too. A Mississippi congressman staffer says, "Do not miss next time," after Trump assassination attempt. It's a now deleted Facebook post that he had put on there. He Party X account as well. Thompson should fire his field director for condoning this. This is what he put up. "I don't condone violence, but please get you some shooting lessons so you don't miss next time." Oops, that wasn't me talking.
Yeah, there is oh, sorry.
You're fine. And then this is what Beanie said. "There is no room in American democracy for political violence. I am grateful for law enforcement's fast response to this incident. I'm glad the former president is safe, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved." We have people that are supposed to protect the American people governing that are saying things like this.
Yeah, so Benny Thompson was he's a Democrat from the state of Mississippi, and he actually, it never passed, never went anywhere, but he introduced a bill to take Secret Service, and this was back in April,
right,
away from Donald Trump, and yeah, that broke today with the staffer today or yesterday, about the whole like missing, you need to be a better shot.
There was so many. We showed probably an easy 20 last night, and the videos, I'll see if I can find a few that these Democrats were so upset because Trump didn't die, and the hatred someone would have to have in their heart for that. It amazes me that people would actually. I don't see it. I mean, I don't like Biden. I don't like Harris. But like keyword, I don't like them. I don't agree with them, but I don't wish any harm on someone.
No, I don't want anything. I don't want anything
Right.
to threaten to Biden or Harris or anybody. I mean, violence is not the answer. And I just.
Well, I mean, here we've got our president too, though, Gravel. Our own president. Recently, he's deleted this post since then, but luckily the internet's forever. I have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. I'm absolutely certain I'm the best person to be able to do that. So we are done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye. In a bullseye. Now, they wanted to ridicule Trump when he said bloodbath, when it was a metaphor. But when you say a bullseye, that's a pretty straightforward word. Bullseye means target. Bullseye means in the line of sight.
Did you say? Did you say he deleted that?
He has deleted that post since then. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been taken. But luckily, us warriors here, Trump asked for months for more secret. Yes, he has, and he was been denied. Of course, they came out today saying other things to it, of course. But let's listen to what Jack Crow had to say
on this. The content and Joy Reid and Midas Touch and Patriot Takes and all you little Midas Touchers out there, pay very close attention to what I'm about to say because I want you to print this. The tapes from special counsel Hur do not match the transcription. I'm telling you right now, we already know that Biden staff is running around and they're doctoring all the tapes when he does these interviews. They're planning questions. They're doing everything they can to protect this guy. Why are they so terrified of the Hur tapes? Why won't they let the Hur tapes come out? Why won't they do this? I'll tell you right now, because it doesn't match the transcription, because the transcription is sanitized. I guarantee you that what you will see on those tapes does not match. They are lying to you. That is why they won't release the tapes. That's why they're terrified of this. And Hur, remember, for all the attacks they threw on him, and they said, oh, well, he's making this political, he's making it partisan. He's the one who said first that from an independent position that Joe Biden has dementia. Well, guess what? That aged pretty well, didn't it? Brian.
I would guarantee those tapes. But do you guys notice this happened around the time all this is going on with the tapes? It's like, don't look over here while I'm doing over here. Man, here's another view. I don't know if people have seen this of when Trump was shot at.
To our country, probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
That was another view of, I mean, they didn't move fast or nothing. I mean, that was the sorriest protection look enforcement I'd ever seen. That was just horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. I found that video, so let's take a look at what this gentleman has to say. Well, it's supposed to come up. Maybe it's still loading. I don't know. We'll listen to this one. For some reason, it's not working. It did this last night. It didn't work very well. Well, let's be very good.
Joe Biden told his donors that it's time to put Trump in a bullseye.
President Joe Biden told his donors on Monday, "We're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a bullseye."
Well, guess what? That is exactly what someone did today. They attempted to assassinate President Trump. And then let's add to the fact that my Democrat colleagues, and I'm going to call them out by name, Benny Thompson, the former chairman of the January 6th committee, just recently introduced legislation to take away President Trump's Secret Service protection. And here's his co-sponsors: Troy Carter, Barbara Lee, Frederica Wilson, Yvette Clarke, Bonnie Watson-Coleman, Jasmine Crockett, Joyce Beatty, and Steve Cohen, to take away his Secret Service protection. So never forget who these people are. Never forget the Democrats. They literally, along with the media, want Trump dead.
It is a sad, sad day for America. It is hard to find the words to describe the shock and the horror that people are feeling right now. But if you were following media outlets like CNN today, well, you would have thought that Donald Trump had a fall. Look at this headline: Secret Service rushed Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Falls. It was an assassination attempt.
We are not going to back down, and we are not going to live in fear. That's why I'm a gun owner. They're going to have to pull him out of my cold, dead hands. And I'm not going to live in fear, and President Trump is not going to allow it either. As a matter of fact, I know I saw my president stand on that stage just after he stood up and pump his fist in the air, and he said, "Fight." Well, we are going to fight. We're going to fight for our freedom. And we're going to stand up against these Democrats and Antifa and whichever sick and deranged leftists want to murder every single one of us, murder President Trump, or scare us into submission, because that is never going to happen, because I'm hearing it from real people every single minute on my phone. They are pissed. We are going to win this election. We are going to elect Donald John Trump to be our president, and we're going to make these people pay for every single thing they have done to us and done to our country.
Well, Mary Jo, woo, she's on fire for that. But she's got to keep in mind that, you know, we can't come out. Yes, it's angry. It angers us. Yes. But we do have to, like I said last night, be still. And people say, being still, it's done. It's over with. No, they are going to do everything they can to trigger. Now, I'm going to tell you, if Trump had died, it would have been a different story. But, someone had a good point last night. Well, if you go and get upset and start doing whatever, who are you going to go against? You can't go against your neighbor because your neighbor didn't cause it. They just had every much right as you did to have their opinion and their belief. So, I mean, you would have to go to your government.
Country, I've been thinking about this, especially after the events of yesterday. They tried the lawfare.
Right.
Well, actually, before the lawfare, they tried to impeach him. It started when he came down the escalator. They tried to impeach him. I mean, basically from day one. Then we had, the lawfare, these trials. And now it's like we're not getting our way. So now we're just going to try and kill him.
Exactly.
And I don't understand how people are not seeing this.
I think maybe
I know you do. I know you do. And
right.
I know your
But I'm hoping some have woken up and seen it. That's what the people in the chat were saying. Biden's a hypocrite. He is. God was there. He was one click away. Absolutely. Absolutely. And others believe this too. Because Trump was talking about how he was reading the sign of illegal immigrants and he just moved his head one way and there it was. So let's see what they have to say about it.
Moment when the bullet grazes his ear. He's turned sideways. If you look at that video, he's addressing a big screen because he's looking at a graphic about border security. And he turns there. It wasn't supposed to be in that part of the speech, but he brings it up early. His guys put it on the screen. That's why he turns and he says the bullet hits his ear and he goes down on the ground. That screen was something that you worked with him on, the border security stuff.
So that's a chart that I've been developing literally since 2014, adding to it every month. I showed that to him on the plane ride up to the Green Bay rally. He liked it. Turned it over his staff. They made a few changes in terms of graphics on that, but he used it that day. He's been using it ever since. So I'm happy to have been of service there. But
it's pretty amazing. That
it is. I mean, God works in mysterious ways, doesn't it?
That moment.
God does work in mysterious ways. I did find that video. So the one I was talking about the guy who was saying, come get us in the hood, we'll be there. I found that. So let's listen to what he had to say. Unless did you want to say something about that?
The only thing I'll say, I mean, I wasn't a military sniper or anything like that, but I do know guys who are snipers. And I've talked to a couple of my old buddies. They were Rangers. And a couple of JTACs aren't necessarily snipers, but what they're puzzled about is that here's what they told me. I'll just tell you what they told me, and I'm not coming from any sort of expertise on being a sniper, but they're like, it's always it's a front shot, like right there, and that's what's mysterious to a lot of people, unless here's what one of my friends told me. They said unless they were trying to get him in the temple, right, and then right when the shot went, he turned his head, and God bless. I guess he just got lucky, and it didn't hit either. I mean, that's what I've heard. I'm no expert on it, but that's what I've heard.
All right. Well, let's watch this.
Say President Trump, my president, the United States president. You know who I'm talking to. This can even go to Trump Jr. Hey, if you're going to continue to do these debates in these states or in these little cities, and you want some proper protection, this is just a suggestion. This is just my opinion, bro. Because you have a lot of people out there that love you. A A lot, right? And it's obvious that the CIA and all these alphabet agencies don't like you. They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't want to protect you. They don't want nothing. So here's my suggestion to you, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, even Trump Jr., if you get this to your father, huh? Go to the hood. Go get you about 30 to 40, maybe 50 of them ghetto ass motherfuckers, excuse my French. I don't care if they white, black, right? And on the day before, you give them mugs a particular color to wear to protect you. I promise you, that won't ever happen again. Now listen to what I'm saying. If you decide to continue to do this, and you go out here on these little stages and do all this other stuff, you go straight to the hood, man. Go get you 40 to 50 of them cats standing around on the blocks, on the corners, and you had them protect you. Because I guarantee you, that would have never happened. Because as paranoid as the cats in the hood are, that dude would have never got up on that roof. I promise you. Don't let these people protect you because they didn't want you out there in office in the first place. So you know what? Just a little bit of advice from a little brother from the hood. If you ever come to Washington State, you want somebody up there, man, with you to protect you, give me a call, man. Hit me up on TikTok, bro. I'll be more than happy to stand up there for you. You dig? Just my...
I saw that video. That was actually a great video.
It was. They do always have distractions. Well, they tried to say that he was a registered Republican, the shooter, Crooks.
Yeah, well, and Devil Dog actually said something. As for me, Devil Dog, I know you're a veteran as well. I have questions, believe me. You know, I do too, and I'm not a sniper. I just have questions about the tactics, and I got questions about everything now.
Oh, absolutely. This we know. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Crooks. Let's watch JLR Investigations 3-minute video that broke this morning.
Block of Milford Drive in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. They are at the home of this guy right here, Thomas Matthew Crooks. I'm going to share some footage of authorities raiding the home of his parents, getting any clues or information. It is believed they have a search warrant, and I have some new information I want to share after. I want to show you this clip right here. Check it out. So Mary Elizabeth Crooks and Matthew Crooks are his parents, and I'm told that they are fully cooperating, and they have left the home and are at the Pennsylvania State Police Barracks speaking to authorities about their son. I've been contacting neighbors of them who've been telling me the whole street is blocked off. The only people that can come on their street right now are law enforcement, FBI are at the home, Secret Service are at the home. So there is multiple law enforcement agencies at the home of this guy. He's 20 years old, not much of a social media presence, but I'm assuming that they're probably searching around the home for guns, weapons, any manifestos, or anything that would link him to this crime, or any clues to see why and how he did this horrible act in Pennsylvania. We are covering this case extensively, and neighbors don't have pictures of him either. He doesn't have a social media presence. So was this guy a loner? Was he antisocial? Did he not go out much? Apparently he's a recent graduate of his high school, local high school. So They've been living around there for years, not like they just moved into the community, his parents. But I wonder what his parents are thinking. I wonder what is going on here. And why did this guy take a rifle and travel 1 hour to the north to Butler, Pennsylvania to do this horrible act on Donald Trump and, the crowd and the rally? He allegedly climbed up a building on the side. But how did he know to do this? Was he scouting out the area? Is he affiliated with any groups, terrorist groups, political groups, or is he a lone wolf here? Also, who does the rifle belong to? So that will be interesting. And if the rifle belonged to his parents, I'm wondering if his parents could be charged with something, just like the Crumley parents in Michigan. So that is a mystery in itself on that aspect. But we are on it on JLR Investigate. Sub to the channel, like.
Okay, so the gun belonged to the father. The father had purchased it 6 months ago. And let's see, let me go here. Okay. They're saying he was registered as a Republican. Okay. Well, we're gonna watch this video real quick, and then I'm gonna explain some things that I have uncovered.
I teach AP and honors economics in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Financial well-being to me is knowing that I can be free to do the things that I love to do. I hope when I retire someday, they say that guy made this place a special place to come to school and gave as much as he could to help the community. Is Brian.
Okay, that was Crooks in the video, the shooter. Okay.
I saw
now
him.
he was a registered Republican, is what they're saying. Everybody's heard of Act Blue.
Yes, Act Blue.
Okay. Act Blue is what Project Veritas uncovered, that many Democrats were on this list that they had donated thousands of dollars, up into hundreds of thousands of dollars, 3 or 4 times a day. The same person's name would show up on the list and had donated. And whenever Project Veritas went to their homes and asked them, hey, was this you? That's me, but I don't have that kind of money and I never donated to Act Blue. Well, was a registered Republican here. This is Crooks. Date of birth 9/20/2003. So he was fixing to be 21. Then later on, he actually donated $15. There is the check of where he did donate. Well, in Pennsylvania, they have what they call closed primaries. You know what that is?
Yes.
That's what I was asking Seth earlier. Okay. Explain to some what it is.
All right. So you can vote for whoever you want to in a general, but when it comes to a primary, if you register as a Democrat, if you register as a Republican, it depends on what state you live in as an independent, but so in the primary, you can only vote for, if you're a registered whatever, Republican or Democrat, you can only vote in a primary for a Republican candidate. And the same thing goes for Democrats. And I've heard this. Sisson Harry made a video about this. He was a registered Republican.
Well, let's explain why he was a registered Republican. It's going to bring a lot more sense to it. You're gonna understand it so much more.
Go ahead.
They have a Rally Democrats to Vote. It's a progressive turnout project. It's dedicated to mobilizing the Democrat Party and defending democracy. Our voter turnout initiatives are solely focused on motivating Democrats to exercise their right to vote. Okay, we got that part. Put it up there. What this is, What this is where it's part of the PAC. The primary pivot encourages voters. It's called the primary pivot to weaken and then defeat Trump through voting in primaries. Their website says Donald Trump represents a unique and existent threat to the U.S. democracy at primary pivot. We encourage independent and moderate voters to use their power to vote in open and semi-open primaries in order to weaken. They have infiltrated our local politics. Now, if we keep going on down, you're going to see where I feel like I have an ethical duty to try and stop people like the Freedom Caucus by trying to influence the election. With Idaho being as red as it is, inevitable that conservatives will be voted in. I just want to help and to not so extreme senators and representatives to get into office to better serve the claims of people in the state. So what this means is they want you to register as the opposite party. If you don't want a conservative in office, register as a conservative and vote the opposite. Register as a Democrat and vote as a Republican to try to control the votes.
Country, this whole registered Republican thing that this dude,
he wasn't a Republican. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't a Republican. He did it
voted,
just
what he did, he voted for Haley.
Bingo. We're going there. That's where we're going.
I saw you flash that up, but I was aware of that.
Nikki Haley keeps racking up votes in the final stretch of the GOP primary, and Donald Trump keeps snoring. So Democrats were to register as a Republican and vote for Nikki Haley instead. Okay? This was inside the campaign to get Democrats to vote for Nikki Haley. Now, that video we just watched was at the same time when all Nikki Haley and all this started. Okay? But they're saying they have no part in Haley's present. Now, I can't find a connection to that. I'm still looking. But with that video being shown, you guys, that is why he was registered as a Republican. He was solely a Democrat. But he registered as a Republican to take the votes to give to Nikki Haley to prevent him from going to Donald Trump. If they couldn't vote for a Democrat, they needed to fix it. And they was going to vote for Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley didn't get votes because she's such a good person, because she would have led the country. They were willing to just go and sign up as a Republican and vote for her to keep the vote from going to Donald Trump. Period. Because they didn't.
It was a fix. It was a fix.
Correct. So that's why he was a registered Republican. And of course, the Biden administration is going to push the narrative that he was a Republican and a Republican did this to Donald Trump. No, he was a sole Democrat. And he was only following the lead of this right here. Rally for Democrats to vote. That is why. And it was closed. They were closed primaries. They had to do it in order to get those numbers up. And it is connected to it. This HV4B, Haley voters for Biden, guess what it's connected to? Pivotal votes. Right down here. So it is connected to primary pivotal encourages. Go look up primary pivotal. So this is all connected. He was not. Now, BlackRock, when I checked into that, they say Larry Fink denies that he endorsed Nikki Haley for president. But DeSantis says that he believes that Fink is once a campaign ESG investing. They're saying he backed away. DeSantis believes that he did invest in it, saying in June that it had been unfortunately politicized and weaponized, which it has by them doing this. Of course, Fink shook his head. But during this debate, DeSantis claimed that Fink and BlackRock want to use economic power to impose left-wing agenda on this country. They want basically to change society without having to go through the constitutional process. Primary Pivot urges voters to vote against Trump. Period. And this is all connected. Primary Pivotal is connected to Nikki Haley's. Let's see if I find it. Votes that she started racking up. So that is why he was a registered Republican. He wasn't a Republican. He was just registered in name as a Republican.
Yeah, so he could vote for Haley.
Correct.
That was the only. He may have not been a registered voter prior to that. I mean, the kid was 20, so let me see. That would make him.
But see, in 2023,
18,
BlackRock made
yeah,
that video. BlackRock
exactly.
made that video in 2023, trying to make the kids get involved with the votes, get involved with the systems. They're saying they wasn't actually connected to it, but they were. They were
Well,
connected to it.
If you do the math, you can't register to vote technically until you're 18, right? So this kid is 20.
Right.
So that would have been we're in 2024. I don't know what his birthday was, but it would have been somewhere around 2022. He could have registered to vote. So it was probably after 2022 that he registered to vote, which led us up into the primaries.
Correct.
And, because that's 2023 was basically when, and early 2024 this year was when most of the primaries were occurring. And it all makes sense. I mean, yeah, okay. Harry Sisson put out a video about this. He's like, oh, he was a registered Republican. And it's like, dude, you're not, you need to peel this onion back a little bit. This is not, things aren't as they seem. Does that make sense?
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. I believe that they get involved in the schools of these kids that are fixing to graduate. And it's called, I don't know some kind of grooming. Political grooming is what I would call it. Political grooming is all I'd say it. And they get in their heads to make them believe they're important and special. And think about it, coming to a young man who has been bullied, what is said every day, very inverted, two parents who are behavioral health specialists, which we don't know the lifestyle he lived with them, but if they suck as behavioral health specialists, I can tell you that right now. I work in mental health, and they suck. They suck at it. To not know there were any issues or problems. This kid had never been arrested. He had never been in trouble at all. So that tells me that he got indoctrinated through the school system. He got in that video with BlackRock. I wouldn't be, and this is my opinion, I would not say that they didn't specifically target individuals like that to make them feel special and important, to where they would do their bidding. There's a video floating out there to where he's let's see if I can find it. He has just gone ballistic and screaming, fuck Republicans and all kinds of stuff. Let's see if I can find it. But yeah, that's why he was registered as a voter. Exactly.
And I still, for the life of me, I don't want to go JFK, but I'm going to if you're okay with that.
You go right ahead.
Remember what they called Oswald when things started coming out? They're not totally out yet, but they called him a patsy. Because I keep going back to the gun thing. It is. If you talk about, like, say, Oswald, right? That was a bolt action. I can't remember the name. It was like a World War II gun. I got a 30-aught, which is bolt action. And a bolt action rifle you know, there's no way he could have gotten those shots off in 6 seconds. 3 shots in 6 seconds or 7 seconds, whatever it was. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, how you're telling me a 20-year-old kid hopped up on a roof undetected with a long gun and just popped off a bunch of rounds. Just
that's what I'm saying. He had never been in trouble. You got to go back to the mental state of this. What kind of mental state was he in? Okay, he may have been bullied, but he never was in trouble with the law. It was like he wasn't even on the watch list. They said in the town. They said they had never even heard of this kid. So I believe this was a silent. I'll call it like it is. I believe this was a silent indoctrination, and they had a few years to do it because that video was back in 2023. So they've had
and
about
maybe,
a year and a half to do it. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, Devil Dog was in the Corps. I mean, the last time I checked, I mean, snipers, they like lay in wait for a couple days, you know? And this is what doesn't make sense to me. You're telling me a kid climbed up a ladder, not you, country, or the panel, but you're telling me this kid just climbed up on a ladder with a long gun and just shot at a president. It just doesn't make. I mean, he might have been a part of it. I'm not denying that, but I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It makes sense though, if you look at it in a way of where they go to college. It's no different than they recruit people for sports. These see as scouts. They're political scouts. These are political scouts. That's what I call them. The others, they're sports scouts. So that's what they did to this kid. And if they already knew, you know, he had maybe some mental problems, who knows? We don't know. And they made him feel special. He was in that one video for BlackRock, and then the teachers are telling him, you know, getting involved and all that stuff. I put that video on here. Just gotta find it. The system is slow. Let's listen to what this gentleman had to say.
Someone who voted against Trump in both 2016 and 2020, this is a cause for deep reflection by me. And my question is, have we been told the truth at any point over the last 8 years about who Trump is and what's actually going on here? A lot of people who are pro-Trump have been saying that this is the playbook of they, whether it's a deep state or, you know, some shadowy interest in the government. First, they try to cancel you. So they say shit about your character. They say things that can't actually be proven. They take quotes from you that make you basically look bad. The second thing that they try to do is they try to convict you of something. In this case, trumped up charges about you paying legal expenses to a porn star for her to not say that you had sex with her. It's like, morals aside, like, is that really a big deal enough to convict someone? And then the third thing that they try to do is they try to kill you. And that's just what happened with Trump. And actually, you know, I've been updating my view on Trump recently, and I started going back to some of the things that I was told that he said, and some of them he literally did not say. Like, for example, you remember when we were told that he said of white supremacists and other racists in a rally that he said that they were good people? It's not true. If you actually watch the whole clip, and I'll share a link to the clip here, you can see that he's clearly saying there were other people at the rally who are good people.
You're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this: you had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious and it was horrible.
So this is a time where it's really hard to know what to believe, but you know, sometimes when we hear things are conspiracy, maybe it's time to listen, because maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not. Oh man, all my videos just over there. Sorry about that, guys. So he is a leftist, and he himself is stating Trump didn't say things, and not to believe everything that you hear about this stuff. I found that video. I'm waiting for it to load. We'll play it. This is where they're saying Crooks was Republican. And how this young man is acting and speaking, this is not someone who loves Republicans. Especially, he says it himself. Wow. Does that look like someone that was loved to be a Republican? No. Yes, people are waking up. They truly are. Well, is anyone, you guys are familiar with the singer Tom McDonald? He has come out with a new song today, but I just got a little clip of it I wanted to play. And this is exactly, he's speaking facts. He's speaking facts. I love Tom McDonald's. Some of his music, he gets right down right, but this is just a little bit of the verse of it.
And bitch, you missed. Thank God the left can't aim. Why can't we just shoot straight? Y'all are going insane. Bitch, you missed. There's no one else you can blame. Tried to lock him up in a cage. Now you trying to kill what you hate. Bitch, you missed.
You know, Country, he actually wrote that song last night and produced it today.
Yep. Yeah, people were coming when I posted the video. They were coming on there saying and making videos saying, this is interesting. It came out that quick. You guys don't understand. Singer and songwriters are highly intelligent people, and they're very creative. And they can pop something down on a paper and just go with it. And he's got his own, his wife does the videos for him, producing it. He helps and he sings, but she does all of it. He has the ability to do it all there. He has his own recording studio and everything. So it is not just some kind of farce thing. It is a good song. Yeah, it was a little invitation.
Yeah, and back to your previous video, Country. I mean, this is the problem with headlines and clips, and you know, the like what that gentleman was talking about in that video you showed about, it was the Charlottesville thing. There was a lot more that Trump said, but he said, look, there's good people on both sides, but he said a lot more before that and a lot more after that. And that's where I fundamentally think this whole thing about Trump being a racist came from, you know.
Absolutely.
But they took that one snippet where he said there's good people on both sides. What Trump, in my mind, was getting at was that he was trying to say, look, there's good Republicans, there's good Democrats.
Right.
But when you expand that conversation, if you will, that's, they didn't hear the rest of it. He said, because he actually condemned the Trip K and white supremacy and, you know, or white supremacists or whatever. He actually condemned it, but they don't, the media won't show you that. No,
they won't.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's what he was talking about. They'll show, that's why I love people, you know, just headlines. You've got to dig deep. You've got to go in it. And sometimes whatever's highlighted inside that particular story, go to that highlighted point, because it's going to keep, that's how you research it. It's going to keep taking you back to different information. And a lot of times when you put a story together, you have to go back. When they say go back to the beginning, they don't mean just go to that post at the beginning of where that post started. They mean go back to how they got to that point. And you will find out so much information. And that's how I do my research. I go back. When I go to do breaking news, I don't look what's on the front. I may go back 15 pages. And that is where you're going to find it, because they bury the news. They bury the truth. They let it out, but they bury it so far back that you cannot find it. And that's why you have to dig. And that's why I do hours of research, hours of it on things to get one 10-second, 20-second video.
Yeah.
Will take you hours to get.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I've been even before what happened yesterday, I've kind of been getting on these these liberals, you know, they're the ones asking for money, Cash App and PayPal and Venmo and whatnot, you know. And what shocks me is when you watch these videos or these lives, people are sending these other people money. And I'm like, why are you sending them money? I mean, anywhere from $1 to like $20. I mean, and I'm talking about like the Harry Sisson, Dean, Chris, RTP, Felice, all of them, you know, and they're like, well, we're hosting a radio show. And I'm like, well, why don't you go get a real job?
Truthfully, I think honestly, I don't think it's so that they're like, hey, I want to give you some money. Okay. That's how TikTok messes with your mind. They put the gifts on there. And a lot of times people forget those gifts are money. They think they're truly okay. It becomes a thing. I'm going to send a rose. I'm going to send a galaxy. I'm going to send whatever because they make it look all pretty and shiny. And they think, okay, well, I'll get this person's attention if they see this big, beautiful firework or something. And those things are expensive. And that's where I think they mess with your mind control to make you think, okay. And I believe people forget that it's money
Like,
sometimes when they're talking
kind
to
of
it.
like
They just want to be noticed.
Yeah, they like me. Harry Sisson likes me. Dean likes me. I'm
Right.
like, what is this?
Need that
Fucking high
approval. They
school?
need that. Yeah.
You know,
Well, it kind of is like high school if you think about it. It's like if they send a big old gift and this is a rich person, it's got millions of dollars rolling out their ass, and they get this huge gift that someone just sent a $300 lion, they're like, wow, that was nice because a lion does a big thing. It does a big show when it's sent. They're going to get that attention. The person may call their name out. And when that person calls their name out, they feel important. They feel special. They feel, oh my God. And they were probably a huge fan of the person. And then that's their only way of receiving it. They may be recording it or whatever. But that was their $300 they spent just to get a hello. It wasn't because the person saw you and wanted to say, hey, and just be kind. It was because you got noticed because you blew them up with some big old gift. Period. And that's when they do it. I believe they truly forget that it's money in there. Or sometimes they might think, well, I'm send you money. It just makes no sense to send millionaires money. They're on TikTok and they're millionaires and they're sending all this coinage, all this money to them. I mean, I saw Jelly Roll last night and he's not about the gifts, but he was on there and he's just learning TikTok and he's enjoying it. He's enjoying himself. And people were sending him huge gifts and he was like, he didn't even know what it was. He didn't know. He thought it was just a thing, hey, somebody sent me this. And then he found out later on that's money and he's like, what? And he
Yeah,
really
country. In your live last night, if you don't mind me bringing this up, your
Go ahead.
TikTok live, I think it was Chad who was talking to you, like, hey, maybe you should monetize off of it. And I wouldn't blame you because you're a great creator.
Thank you.
For me, if I get roses or a gift or whatever, I just gift it back. I mean, I don't monetize off my platform. I just try to put information out there. Like it, love it, hate it. I don't care. Nobody can dox me. Nobody can cancel me. I mean, they might be able to take down my account, but I make my own way. I don't need social media, to make my own way. But I mean, literally, people are what I guess what I'm getting at is that especially in these times, whatever you say, talk bad about Trump. And even this afternoon, I was just kind of cruising through some lives, and they were like, well, it's like what we were talking about earlier. Well, it's too bad he missed, and that was our last shot, and I'm just like, you people are sick. You're sick. I don't, I can't understand it.
Think about this administration, okay? This rogue administration, and others in the government. They have been going after this man for years, even before he became president, when he first ran the first time. They all loved him when he was a Democrat. They all loved him before he got to politics. They were all buddying up to him. That's Trump Towers. I mean, he had the show, which I love that show, by the way. The Apprentice. Very good show. I haven't watched some of the reruns because I like Trump. You can learn a lot through that show too. But you got to think about it. They were after him then. They impeached him twice. They were made up Russian collusion by special reports. And as Biden said today, there'll be a special report released on the Secret Service. And you saw Garland standing next to his right. You had Kamala Harris to the left. You had the demon himself in the middle. And it hit, I was like, another report, like Crossfire Hurricane, another report. Oh my God, we got another report coming out. We got another bullshit thing. I mean, look at the documents case. But my point is, they've been after him. Now they went after him for the Russia collusion. That was bogus. But have anybody come out and said, oh no, they went after him to get 51 signatures to state that the laptop wasn't fucking real, to disprove, to make him like he was a liar. Okay. Then after that, then they get these bogus cases against him and they go at him hard, and they realize your bogus bullshit is not going to stand. You might have people in the court system here or there, but you can't blatantly come out and disregard the law. If you do in that fashion, we know what you are and we know who you are. You put a target on yourself at that point.
And now, like I was saying earlier, 30,000 foot view. When you look at all this that's happened, now they're just trying to kill him.
Now we're at this point. They have nothing else they can do to the man. Nothing else. They've seen that their lawfare is not working. They've seen that nothing is working. That should tell you God is working. God is going to protect this man. He is going to protect him. Mary Jo Greensider said that it happened at 6:11 today. I'm telling you, the signs are there. You just got to look for them. They're there. And God is trying to show you that he's so powerful and that he's there, that you can't take God down. It happened at 6:11 today. And if you read Ephesians 6:11, it speaks about having your armor of God on and you're untouchable. So now all they have left is to do this to him, to go after him like this.
I mean, could you imagine, like, when you really look at this, Trump, like, let's take the presidency out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a father. He's a grandfather. He's a husband. I mean, like,
thank you, Jen.
I'm pretty sure everybody in this on your show is a parent, grandparent, so on and so forth. Could you imagine seeing somebody like attempt to take your father's life or your grandfather's life? I mean, it's just.
I mean, we'll go back to
this is where this is where the line got crossed. And actually, I was asked a question today. I was on a live. Guy was a good guy, very godly and whatnot. And he said, well, what do we do? Where is the threshold?
Right. Good question.
And I told him, I said, that's actually a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't know exactly where that threshold is, but based on the events of yesterday, what I can tell you is that threshold has probably been reached.
I agree.
I mean, it's just, you can't just go try to kill a man because you don't politically agree with him.
No, you cannot.
And that's very scary. And he said, okay. So he sent me a DM and he said, dude, Gravel, we should host a live together. And I said, okay, anytime. Because it's an honest question. Like, where does that threshold come? And I'm still actually thinking about the answer to that. But has the threshold been reached? I do believe that. I mean, I think we've come to a point where we are going to have to step up, and I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, country.
No, I agree. I agree with you because I mean, what is left at this point? Think about it. What is left to do at this point? I mean, I'll say the quiet part out loud. I'll say the quiet part out loud.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
We're at a point where I'll say it this way, of no return.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? We are at a point of no return. I would say it that way. It's the best way I can relay it to you. We're at a point of no return. They cannot take this man down, and they're trying like hell. So what is coming next? People need to have their heads on a swivel.
Yeah.
And it's not fear-mongering. We've seen what they're capable of. Because we have when Trump went after the deep state, and he said he had everything, they have everything. They have everything. And they will try everything they can. We're what are we, August? We're about almost 3.5 months out from the election. 3.5 months. Trump has done how many rallies over the past 3.5 years? And not a shot.
Who knows? Probably like, I don't know, 100. I don't even know. But then that happened yesterday.
Devil Dog, the threshold has been reached, in my opinion. No doubt, something has to be done with the evil party, and they continue to encourage evil in humans that they do not like. Absolutely correct. Well, we saw Trump. This is when Forbes put this out, but they since have taken it down and completely gotten rid of it. But thank God the internet's forever. Forbes deletes this article asking whether Trump's surviving assassination attempt will be his next appeal to black voters. They went as far as to, I was wondering when they were going to flip this. I was wondering when they were going to blame us. I think you can hear this video pretty clear. But I was wondering when they were going to try to flip it and use it against us.
President Trump and his supporters have contributed to this violent rhetoric as well.
Well, absolutely, George. We were just looking back this morning at some of the things that former President Trump has said. He warned last March of potential death and destruction if he were charged by the Manhattan District Attorney. Our country is being destroyed as they tell us to be peaceful. Trump in January warned of bedlam in the country if the criminal charges against him succeeded. And of course, in March, he said, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be the least of it. He said he was partly joking and that was taken out of context. But those are indeed his words. And you have heard it from supporters as well. And supporters are certainly, in some parts, angry. And let's remember January 6th. In so many ways for the campaign, January 6th will probably be in the background after yesterday. yesterday's event. This is a very difficult time for this campaign. I'm sure this week in Milwaukee that President Trump will highlight this, and President Biden is going to have to figure out how to go forward with this campaign and what exactly they say.
See how they flipped that? You see how they're going with this narrative now? That Trump had he had stated all this, and he's responsible for this, that this is going to happen. Then they want to bring January 6th up. I'm going to tell you, our January 6th prisoners should be released. They should be released, period. Now, there were some that did go in there and do nefarious things. That should be held accountable. But the ones that were innocently there and they were told to come in the Capitol and motioned to come in the Capitol and lied to, that did nothing. Because I'm gonna tell you, if I had went and I was one of those individuals that lived in a whole nother state and I'm a country girl and I'd went up there and I saw an officer saying, come on through, I would have went through thinking it was okay. Why? Because an officer of the law that we trust motioned to come in. But then they want to say now Trump is saying bloodbath. Okay. Well, Biden, you said bullseye. And what the fuck just happened?
Well, and you know what? You know, the whole J6 thing, and I wasn't there either. I was seeing it on Twitter, and I was actually warning people, or X now, but I was warning people. I was like, hey, be careful. I think there might be a setup going on here. But that aside, worst case, minus the people that broke windows and who knows who they were, it's a trespassing charge, which at most would, I think the way it works, that would maybe land you in jail for like 30 days.
But they're wanting
Worst
to make
case.
it.
Worst case. Yeah, but, you know, they're like, oh, they were conspiring to overthrow and, you know, all this and that and so on and so forth. And they were going to kill Mike Pence. And, you know, I mean, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so ridiculous.
It
you
is.
know,
Here we have a diagram of the rooftop where Trump was and where everybody else was. Now, Secret Service, they look, they make sure, you know, they watch. Well, Secret Service knew about the rooftop security flaw at Trump rally days before the event, but ignored it. Someone needs to be fired, or worse. If you found yourself wondering how on earth Secret Service missed the shooter on the rooftop at 450 feet away from where President Trump was. They knew about that security problem and did nothing. Wouldn't you think that you would have those areas in the site covered? I mean, common sense. I mean, if I was going to be somewhere and I was a star or something and I was afraid somebody was threatening me or coming after me, and if I was at high risk that someone was going to assassinate me, the very first thing I would say, get the rooftops. Get the rooftops. This is deliberate, and I agree. Someone needs to be fired. Absolutely.
well, you know, so I don't know if you're aware of this country or not, but tomorrow, it's Comer. Judiciary Committee. No, that's shoot, I can't remember. Comer, there's an emergency hearing tomorrow with the director of
the Secret Service. She was subpoenaed
Have
today.
you heard about that? Have you heard about that?
As an emergency. I mean, they want to know why this happened. Steve Bannon, before he went into prison or jail, in a Guardian interview in June, Steve Bannon, a Trump advisor and former White House chief strategist, spoke of his concern that the Republican nominee would be assassinated before the election in November. It's my number one fear, Bannon said, speaking before he begun a 4-month prison sentence for defying a congressional subpoena. Assassinations has to be at the top of the list. And I believe that the woman that's running the Secret Service part is not doing her job. This was back in June. This article was done back in June. On the War Room, he actually spoke about it. Tucker Carlson, when he did his interview with Trump, everyone remembers the interview with Trump that Tucker did. Tucker even brought that up and spoke about that and said, well, the only thing left to do is assassinate you.
Yeah, so the detail that's there's always one guy, and I see him all the time around Trump, and he must be the head of the Secret Service detail. I think, I mean, other than that woman, who couldn't holster her weapon after 2 tries,
Well,
she's pretty junior, but I think his detail, like personal detail, like protect the president at all costs, like when they jumped on him and whatnot. I think those guys and gals are, and some of the junior ones, I mean, they did actually cover him. But my understanding of the Secret Service is that, okay, you have your detail, right? So you have your presidential or your vice presidential detail, whatever. So those are the people that are around you at all times. But when you extend that out, the Secret Service, to your point, like they should be looking at rooftops and they should say, hey, look, that looks like that could be a threat. This could be a threat. That could be a threat. So I don't necessarily blame Trump's personal detail, but the Secret Service writ large, that's where I'm like, how did you leave? And I'm not a security guy, but I mean,
That's what I do before I started doing mental health. I was a security officer for many years, a corrections officer.
Okay. So you understand what I'm saying. I mean, how do you leave a roof unguarded?
You don't. That's what I'm saying. You would have, being in that field, I've done many events. My job is to maintain the security of the people that, like the singers at the events, the actors at the events. Your main goal is to protect the entire everyone, but you can't. So your main goal is to protect the actual person that you're assigned to, because you're assigned to do a job unless ordered differently. You have to make logs every hour. Every hour you have to a phone. I had a phone and I had to log every hour. If nothing happened, I had to explain nothing happened. Everything was secure and it was safe. If the most minute thing took place, I recorded it, documented it, because you never know that one little thing. Like here, they were saying, well, there's a guy, and you got President Trump here. This is what I don't understand. You have Trump right there, knowing he's high risk at this time. There has been attempted assassinations in the past, but they've got that handled. Well, this happens, reports, hey, we need to find out when the first report of the person on the rooftop was. How many minutes was in between the time before Trump even stood on the stage? He had his son and his grandsons there and his grandkids there. So how much time had passed that this person was on? Was he on the rooftop at the very beginning? Or was he on the rooftop? I got up there right before Trump started speaking. Because people were going around saying there is a man on a rooftop. And then Secret Service left that rooftop open. Like they were protecting that area, is what it looks like to me, coming from security myself. They left it unprotected for a reason. They knew days before, because if we're going to do an event, I get the map. They send me the map. I have to study the map, the exits, the entrance. That's the very first thing. The most dangerous areas, the points of interest, period. I have to remember that. I even carry a map in my pocket if I am not sure, but most of the time I would have it up here because I'm not going to allow someone on my watch to be killed or harmed. I'm going to do my due diligence 110% to protect the individual because when I sign up for something like that, I am signing up that I'm willing to lose my life. I don't want to, but I'm willing to lose my life to protect another individual's life because that is what I signed up for. That is what they signed up for. And if they are corrupt and they have been infiltrated, which we can see they have been, the only answer to this whole entire debacle, it's an inside job. They deliberately wanted to hurt. They couldn't get their hands to, they couldn't even get close enough to Trump unless you infiltrate, just like they're doing with the open border. They allowing illegal immigrants to come in. They never could take down America because behind a blade of glass would be a rifle. Every blade of glass, there would be a rifle. You would never take America down from the outside in. You will only take America, and you won't still take America. I promise that. Fuck around and find out. You'll have to come from the outside in to destruct that. They could not touch Trump from inside.
Okay,
from
so
outside
so so
because he's
you have
protected.
so you have security experience. Is it fair what I said? And I guess what I'm getting at, especially what you just kind of alluded to. So you would, I don't know the way it works, but you have the personal detail. Like you're assigned to this person, you're going to protect them at all costs. But that personal detail is not necessarily checking out the surroundings. And I would argue that somewhere there was, whether it was what's the word I'm looking for, planned or not, would it be fair to say maybe the personal detail wasn't shown or told about a guy climbing on a roof?
It's fair to say that because, but most of them have their radios. I always carried a radio. We always communicated back and forth. We had to tell where our position was. We had to let them know if it was secure. Every hour on the hour, I was in charge of a certain area. I didn't leave that area. I couldn't leave my post. If I left my post, it would be considered deserting and I could get fired on the spot. I was not to leave my post. So someone was designated to that area.
Right.
Some people, okay, they were specifically designated. See, it's not that you have security just in one accumulated spot. You have security in plain clothes. I've worn plain clothes before, so I wouldn't stand out. I would blend. They do that. I'm sure that was going on. So whoever was supposed to be in that post in that area and securing that area, where were they? How many did they have? And why didn't you? Because if that area is all you got, okay, and that's it, you regularly check that to secure it. You would climb that ladder to look up there on the roof. You would walk the perimeter continuously every hour on the hour till you become so familiar with it you didn't even have to look in any other direction. That was your main focus of that area. So whoever was not doing their job, start there and see if anyone was assigned to that area. If not, you'll have some answers. Because if someone was not assigned to the most pivotal area where someone be on top of that roof, why the fuck not? Because they are assigned certain areas and you do your reports of those areas. That's why they say the FBI and these other agencies are going to have to do their own reports.
You know, I heard something today. I don't know if it's true or not. You might be able to help me out with this. Like when a president or a former president visits wherever, there's like I heard the word 5-mile perimeter established. Maybe that was it's what I heard. I don't know I don't know if it's true or not, but we're talking 150 yards.
Correct.
And it just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's why, coming from the work I've done in my life, it's just not it's just not possible for that to happen without help. Someone either looked away, knew it was happening, was prepared for it, or no one was securing that post. That specific area was left unattended and opened. And that is the question that needs to be asked. Why was it not covered? That area alone. Because you have people that are going to be in the stands. I don't know how many, but you'll have people that can be covering the stands in plain clothes, security officers, Secret Service, his personal details. They're going to be there. You're going to have people in those areas. You're going to have people at the front gate, the back gate, any other opening there is will be secured. You're going to have people at every perimeter. You're going to have people at every point of interest to where, okay, that could be a problem. Every spot, you're going to have someone securing it. They're going to have reports for that area. You can't tell one person, oh, just watch this whole area. It's broken up. It's pre-planned. When I do an event or a job, I am emailed the entire map weeks in advance to understand it, be familiar with it, to learn what I can and everything I can about it. Because the first and foremost, the reason why you do security, you do Secret Service, you do personal detail, you do anything and you get in that is to make sure everyone is safe and secure. That's why it's called security. That's why it's called Secret Service. So people don't know who they are, but they're supposed to be the badasses. Well, Missy, that was fumbling with your little gun. You ain't no badass. Try me out. Try me out. I'd put that gun in that goddamn holster and still keep going. Because when you sign up for that job, you sign up, period, that you know your life is at stake, but you're okay with that. You're okay with that, period. So someone left that place unattended, period, and they're going to find out. You cannot abandon your post. If you do, it's considered abandonment. You cannot leave your post unless you're doing a perimeter walkthrough. Period.
And the question is, why? Why was that not spotted?
Because they had it planned. They left it open. They left it open deliberately. They knew that was a perfect shot. They wanted that particular area. They wanted that rooftop specifically. Look at the map. Straight shot. They didn't want any mistakes. They wanted a straight fucking shot. It wasn't like he was here and might be a curve. It wasn't like he was over here. It wasn't like he was behind. It was straight fucking shot. Far enough away, but close enough to do the job. Far enough, hopefully, to not be seen. Because they didn't think nobody would see this. But everybody did. Because you had a 20-year-old kid that was indoctrined to do the dirty work. That's why. It was
and you know what I'll say about that. I mean, what I do know, and this is again just based on me talking to snipers. I'm not one, but I mean, once you rattle off that first shot, any Devil Dog, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Once you rattle off that first shot, you're exposed now, and so there was the first shot, and then there was like a second and a half to 2 seconds, and then all the shots went. And
why didn't the officer that climbed the ladder? This is where I'm getting at. When you sign up for these positions, it is maintained to be safe. You be safe and you save everybody else. But you know you're getting yourself into a situation at some point in time to where it's you or the other person. That's common fucking sense when it comes to these kinds of positions. That officer got up that ladder, saw him, and ran. I would have pulled it out and I would have loaded A whole fucking clip in his ass. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
I'm sure
I
you would
mean,
too, Devil.
and that's why, I don't know, the whole thing is weird. It's very suspicious. You know, like I said, a 20-year-old just being like, oh, I'm going to go, you know, unalive a president, and just climbs up on a ladder, puts a long gun, and just lays down and just starts firing. It's bizarre. It's fucking bizarre. I'm sorry. It's bizarre.
It's not bizarre to me because I'm familiar with it. It's not bizarre to Devil. It's really not bizarre to you. What it is, I believe, as that you can't believe that the people that are supposed to protect us are willing to kill us. I think that's what you can't believe. We don't want to come to the realization that the people we've entrusted for so long that's indoctored us. But now, see, we're awake. Many of us are awake. And after
Yep.
yesterday, there's a great awakening going on. And you're going to see more of it. I'm telling you, you're going to see God is so powerful. I've got chills right now. The Holy Spirit is moving through. He is going to protect Trump. He is going in the process. Everything will be revealed.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
sometimes you have to lay
You're
someone on
right.
the
You're
line
right.
for it to be revealed.
You're right. And this happened on a Saturday afternoon, and the news cycle starts tomorrow. I mean, it's been going on over the weekend, but the RNC starts tomorrow.
Why do you think Biden's talking about unity now? They fucked up.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
Yeah.
They're talking about unity now. He's talking about unity. Oh, let's have unity. We've got to have unity. This is what we got to do. No. And then they want to spin it against Trump, you see. They have nothing left because you medias out there that are liars. Your time is coming to where everything's going to be revealed of what you guys have been doing, and you running scared. So what you could do truly, and I'm speaking to the freaking CNNs and the ABCs and the CBSs and all you local stations that do the bullshit. The time has come for you to, hey, stand up and be like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to tell you, that is going to give you so much power. That's going to make you feel like a human being again and not the evil that you have within you. Doing the right thing is so much better than doing the wrong. It takes more energy to do wrong than it does right. So do the right thing. Start reporting the right things. Start telling the truth. Reveal these people. Honey, reveal the first fucking evil person. And then keep going down the list. If you're an FBI agent and you know this shit's going on, and if you knew this shit was going to happen to Trump, I'm going to tell you, God is behind all of this, and He is going to reveal who you are. You can either do it God's way, or you can continue to try to do it your way. And your way, honey, ain't going to get you very far. I promise.
Amen. Amen.
It's not.
And
I'm
it's all
sorry.
going to come out. And I mean, we're getting, like I've been saying kind of on your whole show, it's gotten to the point they're just going to try and kill him.
They are.
Or
I'm
they
going to
try
say right now, God's not going to allow that man. He has got so much for that man to do for the American people.
Well,
God does what He does.
Here's my theory on that. They had their shot and they missed. It's over now. It is
They missed.
over. It's
No,
over.
I think they'll continue. They will try again. I do
Yeah.
believe that. But Trump is on to it. Trump is onto it. And now the truth is going to be revealed with the Secret Services. There are people scared. I mean, how do we know the people that wasn't sitting there, you know, putting their hands over Trump and everything, and after it didn't happen, scared to death that they couldn't mentally function,
Yeah.
that the truth's going to come out? They running scared. Somebody will flip. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear about certain people accidents and stuff. I'm telling you.
I was talking about that detail, like the personal detail. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those people in detail said, hey, nobody told us anything about a shooter on a roof. Because my understanding, the way it works, is that their eyes are on the president or the former president in this case. That's all and like, the 5-meter target.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be shocked if they're like, hey, nobody told the personal detail. There was a shooter on the roof. Does that make sense?
People there's so many videos. I think we did show about 5 or 6 videos last night of people. There's many more that's come out. Saying they saw him. You see people in the stands, even right behind Trump, pointing. That's on the backside, pointing and saying, "There's a man on the roof." Now they didn't, whether they knew he had a gun or not at that point, I don't know. But there's a man on the roof, and it's kind of interesting that they use this specific kind of gun too. Doesn't it take specific kind of bullets too? The ones they found, wasn't they some kind of special bullets?
Well, there's hollow points.
I can't remember.
There's hollow points. I don't know. I haven't heard what the gun used was.
Yeah, I don't think it's personal, Devil. I'm right with you. I don't. He says I don't think the personal secret security detail are the ones on him at the time. It's the Secret Service SWAT that's supposed to scan the perimeter, right? Because they're too concerned. So you can't do both. You can't do both areas. You got a set of ones that do nothing but specifically that area. That's it. They don't concern themselves with that because they have the other team that's going to take care of that. When I'm doing an area, I don't have to worry about all these other areas around me because they're covered. They're covered. In my mind, they're covered because they actually have people there. They have people on. This is what's crazy. Whenever I do events like that, or special people come to town or anything like that, you actually have people on the golf carts going around with radios. And those are the big time security. Those are the supervisors. They have a point where they are stationed. You have a base camp. I mean, it's all completely worked out. You radio back and forth. If there's an issue, there's a problem. Hey, so and so. That's why I don't understand that they was not notified, because I'm telling you, they have earpieces, and the radios nowadays are earpieces, or radios are connected into earpieces, and it could have gotten to the right people. It was disregarded, just like when they asked to kill, when they had the shot, they were told to stand down.
Yeah, and you know what? Devil Dog, you're right, man. Guys on the ground told the cop. You're right. You're right. So when I was in the military, there was this big thing. It's called deconfliction. Like, you need to know where the friendlies are. You need to know where the enemy is. So on and so forth. And it could have been something as simple as a breakdown in communication, which I would never understand when it comes to guarding a president or former president.
It's not possible. That's what I'm saying. It's not possible to have a breakdown.
And that's what I'm getting at, country, is that, I mean, we had to be like highly deconflicted, like, where are you? Where are they? Confirm the color of this truck on this building you want me to strike, so on and so forth. Which way is that truck parked? What is the color of it? Red truck, okay, contact, then you got, I don't want to get
what I'm saying. There's so much involved in it. They had weeks of preparation for it. They had maps. They had everything they needed. They had a base camp. They had points of entry. They had every possible. That's why they were saying, what went wrong? The only thing that went wrong was the person that was supposed to be guarding that area, and it was supposed to be secure. Apparently, there was no one. Why was not? That would have been one of the most major points of interest that you would maintain and cover, and you did not. Why would that be? because we're going to find out a whole lot more about this. Now, whether they try to cover it up, that's probably what they're doing right now, is they're cleaning up their mess. They're cleaning it up. They're trying to set a tone and set a stage of a whole nother path or story that we'll hear. But no, someone was told to watch that area. I wouldn't be surprised if we came out with something and they said, well, the person was doing this or the person was doing that, or we found the person. I'm really surprised that we didn't hear that the person had been killed and he got up the roof. That would make more fucking sense than anything. But no one was watching it. No one was securing it. That's right there. There's no other answer option. If you're in security and stuff, you understand it. That was left unattended. Why?
Yeah. And actually, I think it's because we're not talking about just some random guy or some random girl or whatever. We're talking about the President of the United States. The last time this happened was Reagan by Hinckley, and
that was when he was in town. He was getting out and he was in the middle of town where there are buildings and stuff like that. And I understand there are points of where they can't really tell, but this was a fucking rooftop. This was a building. This was an area that you would have positioned. I don't know how big the area was. At least probably 5 people in that area. And you would put one specifically on the building. That's all they had to do was secure that building. You would put one on another area, secure this lot. Put one on the other side, secure this area. Another in front. You would have all points, the backside, covered. They left this entire building unattended. I call bullshit. Plain and simple. I call bullshit. Exactly. There can be a break in communication, but these are highly assessed cover up. There were several, and that were probably told to stand down and look the other way while this kid climbed the roof. Agreed. They probably got some money. They may have had something on their family. We're talking about a small town. By understanding, it's not. Is it real big? Is it real big? I heard it was like a small town. Security can scan a fucking anywhere on the roof, but can't see the kid with a rifle. Exactly. This isn't like this was a blind spot. Okay. This isn't like, okay, we do have blind spots. But those blind spots usually are secure. You would actually, I myself, one day for 12 hours secured a small area. And that was my only focus. That one area. That was it. I wasn't to concern myself with anything outside my perimeter that I was on. I was not to leave my post for any reason. If I had to go to the bathroom, I had to radio to someone and say, look, I've got to go to the porta potty. I've got to go to the bathroom. They have to come and relieve me to do so. And that was not done. Why? Because nobody was fucking there. Nobody was there. That's why when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, these bitches did this on purpose. So I want to know the Secret Service. They would have been in control of this. The Secret Service would have been in control of this. Now, sometimes when they come into town with events, we've had Secret Service before at some of the events, they would hire private security systems, which I had worked for, to come in and do areas. And that's what we would do. And we'd still communicate. They took care of the most major points of interest with the big guns, so to speak. And we did all the other facets of areas. We were briefed before. We were briefed on what we needed to do and what we needed not to do, how to report certain code words to say if there was an issue. That way it was quick and simple and you didn't have to radio to where if the other person that you were reporting on could hear someone else's radio that was in the same vicinity, garden in a certain area, they wouldn't hear that what we were doing. So we had certain code words we had to say, certain ways to speak. There's a different terminology when you speak on a radio, which you know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, and this is why I love your show, because this is all kind of unfolding now. But this is why I love your show, because it actually got me thinking, especially about deconfliction. With this whole event, I mean, now I'm recalling times, where I would be like, I'll say radio down to the JTAC, and I'd be like, hey, I got a military age male with a rifle, and is he with you? And they're like, yeah, that's call sign, blah, 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 and I'm like, okay, because he's 50 meters from you. And they're like, no, he's with us. And I'm like, okay, all right.
The whole point of this is, the whole point
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes, but the whole point is, I see there was woods around it and everything. Did he have that rifle? Was it took apart? Did he have it hid in the woods and he came in as a supporter and he went and he got it? Or did somebody already have the rifle and everything set up on the rooftop? Like you said, as we all know, to line the scopes, that takes time. That takes time. You got, I mean, is there cameras around there in the areas? I mean, that was a building. It looked like there were other things around there. Were there cameras around there to see if this guy came previously often and got in position and did a practice run? I mean, he would have had to have done these things. These are things that you would have done. You wouldn't just say, "Okay, one day I'm just going to go shoot Trump today, and I'm just going to grab my AR-15, and I don't have it lined up, and I'm just gonna mess with it a little bit and shoot." Was it left there? Did someone bring it in and plant it there? Someone inside? There are a lot of questions.
No, you're right. And country, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, I have 2 ARs, and I just got a new scope for about a week ago. It takes me a week. I mean, it's not like a daily thing, but it takes me a week to get that. It's called a bore sight, where you can actually, you can look at a board. You're like 25 meters out, 25 meters out. So roughly 75 feet, somewhere around there. It takes me a week just to get that scope lined up. And, and I don't it just, it just got me thinking. I'm like,
if you sit back and you've been in the military, you've been in these positions before, doing security and stuff. If you sit back and you think like a security officer, you think like whatever you was in the Army, Air Force, whatever, you're taught to use weapons. If you think Marines, whatever, if you think, okay, I've got to secure this area. If you think like that, you will know the answers. You will know those answers to every question that you have. There's no other possible way. Now, an average person that doesn't understand this would not, and they would be questioning it and being like, well, maybe it's not. But if you know, and you're taught and you're trained, I did this for 10 years, and you're taught and you're trained, and that was your Bible. That was, constantly, hours on hours. And I worked third shift a lot too, and I had to do it in the night. You know exactly what's going on here. This was an inside job. This was an inside job, and it didn't work. See, they didn't think that it wouldn't work. They were betting that this was going to be a plan that followed through, and it was going to be over.
Yeah.
They didn't figure in, what if they miss? And how do we know? This is another thing. How do we know the real person that actually did it didn't get away with it and leave and blend in and put that person up there? Or maybe part of it. How do we know? I just don't see this being a one-man operation. I do not see that.
It's fishy. It's fishy. And I'm not trying to like boast about my military stuff or whatever.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
just telling you, like the deconfliction stuff, that was very important. We need to know where friendlies were, and we need to know what the target was. You know, and if we saw something from the air, you know, we would check down with what they call a JTAC.
You're right. Devil said there's a spotter. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He says that with a sniper, there's also a spotter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, so it was when you go on an attack run. I mean, it's kind of like planned out. I'm sort of planned out, unless tick troops in contact. But even then, there's a lot of deconfliction that goes into it. You know, you get a 9-line, you get, you know, all kinds of things. I mean, all sorts of information. And I'm after talking with you on this show tonight, seeing what I saw yesterday, what we all saw yesterday, I just am like,
Can't believe that it would happen.
But you're like, not you, but I'm like, you're telling me this 20-year-old kid climbed up on a roof and shot a president. I mean that is the reality of what we're hearing.
I mean, how do we know that this kid was even? I'm gonna go here. It's just a conspiracy theory. If the people are dirty on the inside, okay, how do we know that the actual shooter didn't get away and this person was placed there?
We don't.
Exactly. Now it's a huge possibility. We've seen videos of him being angry. What if it was him and it had to be him and other people? Maybe it was it had to be a group placed strategically in that area to make it look like everything was fine. So, but you have to scope it out. You have to, I mean, they betting on this shit that this is going to be the one time everything's going to be handled. They're not going to have to worry about Trump no more. That, you know what I'm saying? That was their main thing. Okay, we're not going to have to worry about Trump no more. They had the people, they knew that they had called us and they'd be told to stand down. They didn't have it covered properly. Nobody was there, apparently. Someone was able to climb a ladder, and that's a pretty tall building. Climb a ladder, get on the roof, walk on the roof, set his whole entire thing up. And I don't think he walked in with it put together because you'd notice. How did he get in with it? It was already there. So it was brought in by someone from the inside. It was brought in, it was set up, and I guarantee this is how it went. You don't have to worry about setting it up or anything. We're going to have it ready to go. You just got to get up to the roof.
It just it's a good point too. Maybe the long gun was already there. I mean,
can you walk through a Trump rally when they have security at every entrance? Okay, that's why they specifically pick certain areas to where there's an exit, an entrance, and an exit, to where they know all those points. Okay, you're gonna have those points covered, and you're gonna scan people. You're gonna wand them. I don't know. I've never been to a Trump rally. I don't know if they have security things set up to where you walk through them. I would think that would be a more plausible thing to do. Set that up and walk through them. There's no way you're going to get through those entrances if they are making sure and checking your bags and scanning you with the wands to detect with metal, whatever. There's no way you're going to get that gun in there.
Yeah, and the
he says the rifle and the ladder were supposedly waiting for him. That would make more sense. You do have to walk through metal. Okay, Jen's been to it, and she says that you have to walk through the metal detectors. So you gonna tell me I can get an AK 47, whatever it was, and I can walk through a metal detector and not get beat? got rods in my fucking ass and my back and my wrist. That some bitch beats all the time when I go through it if I have to go to a courthouse or anything. You gonna tell me you can walk through there? No. It was set up, it was ready to go. Now, did he
Can I show
come
you something?
earlier?
Can I show
Did
you
he come
something real
earlier?
quick? Can I show
Sure.
you something real quick?
Mhm. One thing blows my mind, hey, crazy Bobby,
All right.
is how the hell does 20-year-old have no social media? Well, he did have parents that were behavioral health specialists. Right. Is that what he had?
This is an AR.
Okay.
Scoped.
Okay, he walked through
I'm not
security
threatening
with that.
anybody or anything like that. It's unloaded. You know, there's no
Right.
magazine in. So when you look at this,
Right.
you're telling me a kid. I'm trying to actually give an example. You're telling me some 20-year-old kid took this long gun or a long gun like this
Uh-huh.
up a ladder and shot or attempted to kill a president.
Hey, Mary Rain. She said
I'm
she
not
heard the
trying to
building was.
brag or anything. I just want to give an example.
No, I get it. I mean, I'll see how you can't carry it. So it had to be waiting there. It had to be ready to go. It's heavy too. He was a skinny, scrawny little fucker too. She's saying she heard the building was outside the security perimeter. Where Trump is at, there is nothing outside the security perimeter. And if it was, it would have to be so far back, and 130 yards is quite close.
Yeah.
That is so close.
I mean,
There's no way. No way.
I don't understand it. I mean, my older son can carry it. My younger son can't. I mean, these things are actually, and that isn't a magazine in it. It's heavy.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's
Right.
and it's like a planned weapon, you know, like especially that it's scoped. You know, you can shoot from afar. If
Yeah,
you
there
will.
are plastic guns, but this was an AR that he had. This was an AR that he used. They were saying
Yeah,
that
I don't know about the you know the plastic stuff.
That's
Yeah,
my
double
thought
dog. It's
too.
not like he's military. You're right.
That was
You're
my
right.
thought too. How could this kid, he said he was a hunter. Okay. Okay. He hunted. He always dressed in hunting clothes. They made sure they put that in the article. He wore hunting clothes. They made sure they stuck that in there. And oh, that's where your mind went to. So right, devil. It's not like he was military. This particular thing he would have to do, it was close enough but yet far enough away, but it was still in security perimeter. That weapon, he would have had to have already had it set up. There's no way he got through security with that. Even broken down. Even broken down, it's even heavier. You would have to it comes in the long. Come on, this is such bullshit. This was an inside fucking job. So Biden, don't tell me. Let's not think further than that. Yes, we thinking further than that, Mr. Don't know anything. They search also. See, I'm asking people. Jen's been to them. That's what I'm saying. When I do events, I tear the cars apart. I tear the coolers apart. I tear the if a bag of chips is open already, I'm looking in that fucking bag of chips. I'm looking in the glove box. I'm looking in that whole entire car. I'm looking underneath that car. I'm looking everywhere. This wasn't a car they had to look at. This was just one person they had to check. So the shit was already there. Now, did he set this up way before? I'm sure there'll be cameras. There has to be cameras around, and continuously came back to line it up and prepare. A lot of preparation went into this. But before it even started, you would have had people doing perimeter checks. And a rooftop is specific what you would have checked. Absolutely. So this was an inside job. Think like a security person. Think like you're in the army. Think like you're in the military. Think like it, and you will figure it out. There was no other answer but an inside job. None. They didn't do their job. And they might come back and say, well, someone just didn't check the building and didn't do their job. Or a person that was assigned to that didn't do their job. Somebody will get the blame, but they'll try to put it on somebody that probably didn't do anything.
It's another Lee Harvey Oswald thing.
Right. His was scoped. No way he would have gotten close with an iron sights. I mean, a qualified with iron sights at 300 yards, that is hard. He had a scope at 149 yards. Come on. Even if it was entirely a 3D printed, you still got to get through the security. I haven't heard anything about it being a printed gun of any kind. All the reports I've heard is it was that particular weapon. So, as far as that. Well, that's great conversation. Great show. Great show. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to show these two things of Trump. Trump's round today. I'm a cart boy at Trump Bedminster, where Trump played today, just about 16 hours after getting nearly assassinated. He was in high spirits, which was great. Took time to chat with a lot of staff, allowed us to follow him for a bit. There was decently big group with him. Of course there will be now. Anyway, I was able to watch him and put on the ninth green. He had about 20-footer with probably 2 feet to break. Sure enough, he drains it and goes. Difference between me and the shooter is that I don't miss. And here he is on.
I haven't seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah, here he is on his song. That's my president. And also today, when he arrived, I think it was Milwaukee, or somewhere like that. Look what was waiting for him. I knew you'd enjoy that, Gravel. The Air Force was waiting for him.
Awesome.
Great show. Everyone, I want to say thank you for being here tonight. We had great conversations. I appreciate everyone. Miss Brenda, Miss Jen, Devil Dog, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, I got to do this. I got to do this. I cannot forget this. Devil Dog, thank you so much. Guys, get out and get this now.
Time to fight back, no, they won't like that. Everywhere is somewhere, and that's where the fight's at. I think time to fight back, no, they won't like.
Hey, Country, thank you again for having me up.
You're so
the
welcome.
only reason I showed my AR because I'm sitting there.
No, I'm fine with that. You're allowed to do that. You can do that. You're good.
Yeah, you stimulated my mind though, because I'm sitting here thinking we're all kind of like in shock mode.
It's not hard to figure out,
but
it's really
you actually got me thinking. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. 20-year-old kid who weighs like 100 pounds.
No.
It just none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. But now I'm thinking.
By tomorrow, you'll have it figured out. And you'll even have more chat with you. Be like, wait a minute, here it is. But everyone, please go to www.dacustoms.com. If you're listening, you can call 781-389-8179 at www.dacustoms.com. He's got some really neat shirts out with "You Miss Bitches" with Trump giving the finger. He's got the hats. He's got the leather work. I'm telling you guys, this man, it is veteran owned and operated, and that's always a plus as well. I'd rather give my money to a veteran any day of the week. Absolutely. I made a special video myself for tonight's ending. So with that, I want to say thank you everyone for being in here. Oh, you're so welcome, Devil. I really appreciate Jen and everyone that stuck around. I know it's late, but I appreciate it. Great conversation. Gravel as always. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Country. Thank you, panel.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Everybody tune in. You never know what tomorrow brings. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. Country Crazy out.